Got an idea for a podcast and think you have the talent to make it a reality? Already have a podcast, but thinking you could take it up a notch, but you're just not sure how to do it? Well, Toxic Entertainment has everything you need to go from podcasting to podcasting. Bring us your talent, your passion, and your best ideas. We'll bring to the table our state-of-the-art technology and comfortable facility, creative and professional staff dedicated to bringing your ideas to life, competitively priced packages to suit your goals and budget, and over 10 years of experience as a leader in the podcasting field. Toxic Entertainment offers quality and affordability that can't be beat. When you're ready to start your journey, Toxic Entertainment is here to help you reach your destination. Learn more at toxicentertainment.net or call 888-66-TOXIC to arrange a studio tour. That's 888-66-86942. Toxic Entertainment, where creativity meets passion.
Enjoying all that Toxic Radio has to offer? Well, make sure you like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Be the first to find out about ticket giveaways, amazing guests, awesome contests, and Toxic Radio events. Just search Toxic Radio Live, all one word, and press that little button. Every time you do, someone here at Toxic Radio will get their wings. Yay! Well, not really. Aww. But we will get a warm, fuzzy feeling in our tummies. But then again, that just might be the beer. Anyway, like and follow us, and we will see you out there on the interwebs.
All sports talk shows are the same, right?
I am bothered by everything.
You gotta go back to football school.
The goal of this guy, it's just immeasurable.
Wrong. In a world filled with talking heads more interested in their own celebrity than actually knowing the sports world, it's hard to find the people who really care about sports first. Look no further. Wire2Wire has it all covered. These guys have the knowledge and the cred to back up their opinions. No hot takes to get attention, just straight up opinions. Know anyone else who correctly called the 2020 World Series and March Madness? How about 70% on the NFL and NCAA football last year? You don't. Bottom line, these guys know their shit. They aren't doing it for attention, they're doing it for passion. Wire2Wire, live every Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern, only on Toxic Radio and wherever you find podcasts.
Welcome to Wire2Wire Sports Podcast, Show 64. I am the NFL genius, your host, Gene Walzhack. And to my right, I got the man, the myth, the legend, Uncle Shally, rocking the Carson Wentz jersey this week.
Going on.
Look at him rocking it. It's looking sexy on him.
Always.
I like the little blue. Coming to us remote, we have Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, actually living in Cleveland now, College Cottrell.
I'm in Columbus, but still Ohio.
I said Kent State's own, Cleveland's own. So I said Columbus's own? Do I have to need to change that to make you feel better?
No, I'm just saying I'm not in Cleveland. I'm not in Cleveland, that's all.
I said he's in Ohio.
I don't want you to confuse anybody. You said Cleveland.
Listen, go to his house. His address is, I'm kidding. We got a ton to get into this week. Move over. There we go. We got a ton to get into this week. We got the preview to college football playoffs. We got the NFL picks. We got our year in review, our best of for the year. We got 10 topics. You're going to get our best for the entire year of 2021. I am fired up. Bowl Mania is in. Shally might tie me. I've been running away with this thing.
You ain't running away from me.
Running away with it, and Shally might tie me. Cottrell's under 500, though.
He loses this
What's
game.
going on right now?
Incorrect. That's incorrect.
You're
Ooh.
500 right now. If Iowa State loses, you'll be below 500.
Clemson just scored.
Yeah, so you're going to be below 500 in like 20 minutes. All right, doesn't matter.
Losing record.
So I guess we'll start with like the appetizer before we get into the main event. Bama, Cincinnati. Bryce Young, that Alabama defense. You got Cincinnati, small school. Cottrell's boy. I don't know why I keep trying to say Spencer Rattler. It's not Spencer Rattler. Desmond Riddler. We got a ton to talk about with that specific game, but the main event is coming. The main event, the Georgia Bulldogs and Michigan Wolverines, is coming. So let's start with Bama, Cincinnati. Spread's 14, 13.5, 14, depending on where you're looking at it. What do you think in this game? Cottrell, I'll start with you.
So I do think that this game's, at least to start, it's going to be very, very tight game. Eventually, I do think it's going to be a case of Alabama having, just too many horses for Cincinnati to handle. I do think that Cincinnati is going to put up a fight, though. Believe it or not, I think that game's going to be closer than what the Alabama-Georgia game was a few weeks ago. Cincinnati has the defense that can slow down Alabama, especially with Mechie being out. Not saying they're going to lock them down, anything like that, but they got Kobe Bryant, nation's best corner, and their defense in general is solid. It's not great by any means. I'd actually like Cincinnati's offense a little bit better than what I like Georgia's. Desmond Ridder, of course, you know who he is, and they got speed, and that's how you gotta attack this Alabama defense. You got to get them moving sideline to sideline and try to beat them over the top. So I think we're going to see Cincinnati with a few shot plays. It's not going to be. I still think they lose. I think Alabama probably pushes. I think they win by 14. But I don't think Bama's ever going to be in any real trouble. But I think it's going to be a very entertaining game. And I think Cincinnati's going to prove to the world that they belong in this game.
That game is played in Jerry World.
Jerry World.
Let's go. Played in the Jerry World, AT&T Stadium. I think Alabama's going to be way too much for Cincinnati in this game. I do. I think that they'll get up 14-0 and coast. I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think Cincinnati will fight the entire time. It'll be between 14 and 21 the entire game. But I think just Alabama's guys are just too big, too strong, too quick for what Cincinnati can handle. And, I guess they could slow down Jamison Williams with the nation's best corner. But with that being said, I just think Bama's got too much. If I had to give a score prediction, I'll go 42-21, Bama.
I lean more towards Cottrell on this one. I think the spread's actually, quite honestly, I think it's a little disrespectful. I think Cincinnati's defense is very good. I think they're going to be up to the task. They're not going to shut Alabama down by any means. But I think they have enough where they can play enough bend, don't break, and if you can steal a couple possessions where you force them to field goals instead of touchdowns, I think they can stay in the game. I think the big thing for them is what you just touched on. They can't get down like 14-0, 17-0, 17-3, anything like that. That can't happen. If they can battle their nerves, come out in that game, put a nice first drive together, maybe get points out of it, or at least go deep and make Georgia go the length of the field, something like that. To where they can really settle into the game and feel comfortable and work all the nerves out. I think they have a shot. I mean, I don't think they're going to win the game. I wouldn't pick them to win the game. I think they cover. I think they cover, and it might be comfortably. I don't know. I think 14's a lot for what that defense is. And again, I think Cincinnati's offense is, I think they're going to be able to move the ball. I think they have enough wrinkles to give, Nick Saban a couple fits on the sidelines where he's going to start yelling at people and all that good stuff. I think you're going to see it. I think the biggest key to the game is Cincinnati's defense. If they can get pressure on Bryce Young without having to constantly blitz, which is what Georgia couldn't do, I think if they can do that, get him off the spot or make him throw the ball, or even make him be mobile, but not let him stand back there for 5 seconds and let him pick him apart, I think they have a shot. I think it's going to be a good game. I'm very, very, looking forward to watching it.
It's an appetizer. Definitely a good appetizer.
It is.
It's like boneless wings.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's the 3:30 game for a reason. I think everybody's expecting Alabama to walk through them, and I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Cincinnati's going to walk in there. They have nothing to lose, and I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. I mean, I think they still feel like they got screwed and disrespected last year, and they're going to go out and prove the point now. So I think it's going to be a good football game. I think if they're close at halftime, I think you have a real game in the second half. To your point, I think if they're up 10-14 at halftime, I think they're in trouble.
I think it's funny because, you listen to the Bama players talk, and Nick Saban is truly convinced this team that they're the underdogs in this game.
Oh, yeah. Nick
he's
Saban
so good at that.
Yeah, he sits there in practice all week and tells them that they're not that good, and it's all media, and it's this and that. I mean, that's what the great coaches do. Paterno is apparently legendary at it well. as well. He would be a 20-point favorite over some Joe Schmo team, and he would ride them in practice like they were 0-3.
I'll tell you a quick, funny Paterno story. He recruited a friend of mine I used to work with by the name of Matt Lowry. And he was an offensive lineman for Penn State. And it was really funny because Matt Lowry's being recruited by all these different schools. He's like, big, strong offensive lineman. And Paterno goes, I don't even know why I'm here.
Mhm.
Lowry's like, well, what do you mean I'm being recruited by all? He's like, yeah, I mean, your feet are slow. Like he told him like 3 or 4 things that he was doing wrong. He goes, to be honest with you, if you came to Penn State, we'd help you become a better football player. But we really don't need you. He's like, I mean, maybe you'd start, you might, like, the guy's like, what? And he went to Penn State just to prove Paterno wrong. And it worked perfectly, but it was a really funny story. But yeah, that's actually, great coaches do things like that constantly. You want to knock down some score predictions? I'm saying 42-21. What would you like to give for your score prediction? Like, you can't play both sides. If it's this, if it's that.
I'll go. I said it. I think they cover. I'll go 38-27 Alabama, and I think the game goes into the fourth quarter.
Okay, Cottrell?
I'm going 34-24 Alabama.
You said 14-point game, and you just went 34-24.
So I think they might push.
Okay, well that would be 14.
I said they might.
I'll take Bama. You two take Cincinnati. I'm good with that. Let's get into the main event.
I mean, we still took Bama.
Yeah, nobody's picking to lose.
No, I'm taking them against the spread though.
All right, well, I'm just saying.
I'll give the point. I'll lay the points.
Don't make it sound like we said Cincinnati's going to win.
Okay, so we have the main event. I'm not even concerned with what happens with Georgia's offense on the field and Michigan's defense on the field. That's not what I'm concerned about.
You should be.
What I'm concerned about, which I'm so excited to see, is the nation's best offensive line versus the best front seven in football, in college football. I want to see Michigan be able to run the football versus Georgia's front seven. That is I was listening to ESPN earlier, and the guy said it perfectly. He said, put the kids and wife to bed. The men will be playing in that moment. That Georgia front seven that doesn't allow anyone to run the ball versus the best offensive line in college football, Michigan Wolverines. That is where the game will be won and lost. If Michigan has any chance of winning this football game, they have to be able to control that line of scrimmage and run the football. Cade McNamara is not throwing the ball against the Georgia defense. It's not going to happen unless Georgia has to commit 8 to the box to stop the run. This game is won right there. Right there. That is literally the battle of this game. I think Georgia wins that battle. I think that Michigan will run for under 150 yards in the game total, which if you know Michigan, and I'm sure Shally does, they're over 200 every game running the football. Like every football. Because they have like 3 running backs that can run. I know Shally's Michigan Wolverines, so I'll start with him here. Shally, how do you see this game playing out? I know you're getting your notes ready. I see it.
Don't need notes. It's easy.
Let me know.
Again, I mean, you nailed on the big battle. I mean, it's can our offensive line? I think if we average 4 yards a carry, I think we're in real good shape. I think that's a magic number. I think if we get to 24 points total, I think we win the football game. The one thing you did say that I think you should be concerned about is you're not worried about Georgia's offense versus our defense. That I think that's problematic for you guys. I don't think you're gonna be able to run the ball super well. And if you get in passing, known passing situations where Ojabo and Hutchinson can pin their ears back and go, Stetson Bennett's in a lot of trouble. He's probably going to throw a pick or two. And if you start turning over the ball over like that, I think it's a long day for Georgia. I'll take Cade McNamara over Stetson Bennett all day and twice on Sunday. If there's one thing he doesn't do is not turn the ball over. And I think Josh Gaddis will put him in enough situations where he doesn't have to throw the ball necessarily 50 yards down the field. But he's very good at scheming guys open or getting people like Johnson or, Roman Wilson, guys like that in space with the ball. they're burners, man. And the absolute Achilles heel of Georgia's defense is their secondary. You saw it in the Alabama game. That front seven is absolutely magnificent. Nobody's going to argue anything against it. They are amazing. It's one of the best squads I can ever remember watching since I got into college football big time when I was like 10. They're incredible. You've 3, 4, no doubt, first-round draft picks on that team. Their secondary is booty, though. We were 8-point dogs at home to Ohio State. We held them to 27, and they are by far, hands down, a way better offense than Georgia's is. I think we have a chip on our shoulder. We've heard all week we're not going to beat Georgia. We can't handle Georgia's defense. I think they're going to prove the doubters wrong. I think Michigan wins the football game. I've been steadfast on that, since this matchup came out. I think we win. I don't think Georgia's going to make enough plays. I think Gaddis will scheme enough guys open and make enough big plays. You have the 3-headed monster. You're going to see J.J. McCarthy as well. It's been consistent all year. He adds another element that Cade doesn't. I think you'll see him run the ball a little bit. And I think Alabama showed you a little bit. I mean, it's, you get those guys running side to side. They get tired. We'll see what happens. I mean, you're going to see a lot of jet sweeps, reverses. You're going to see a lot of stuff like that, guys in motion. Like I said, I think 4 yards of carry is the magic number for us. I think if we hit that, I'm super confident we win the football game. And I think I don't see Georgia scoring at will against us. I think if we get to the mid-20s point-wise, I think we win the game.
Yeah, I picked part of this game. I picked the over-under. So I won't get too far into that, but I don't think Michigan touches the 20s. I think that making Cade McNamara throw the ball, and the way I vision the game, I think that the Georgia front seven is going to win the battle with the Michigan offensive line. And I think if that happens, I don't think that Michigan's got a prayer. Cottrell, what do you say?
So I'm actually on board with Shally on this one, surprisingly. I feel like the Wolverines, they do have that 3-headed monster at running back, and that's going to be enough to wear down that Georgia front seven. Michigan, of course, has their phenomenal offensive line, and then you add in the 3-headed monster at running back, there's just going to be running back by committee all game. Eventually, that Georgia defense is going to get tired, and I feel like, especially early on in the game, Michigan isn't the type of team to get the shot play on you. They're going to rear throw and 13, 14, maybe if you're lucky, 8, 9 play drive. But I think they're going to bust out these long drives, and eventually it's just going to wear down this Georgia defense. I think early on it's going to be a lot of bend but don't break. So Michigan's probably going to kick a few field goals in the first half just because Georgia's not letting them in the end zone. But I've said it all year. The magic number to beat Georgia is 28. And I think Michigan is probably going to get right there. I got this final score being 27-20. I think it's going to come down to Georgia having the ball. Stetson Bennett's going to have to lead a drive down the field, and I just don't have the confidence in him to do that. So I'm rolling with Michigan in this one.
So you have Michigan. You guys both have Michigan outright?
Yep.
I love Georgia outright. Georgia minus 7.5 is tough because the way I see the game playing out. I love Georgia outright. I'll take Georgia money line for whatever you guys want. Like whatever. Like I don't have to be. It could be like a embarrassing thing on the show. I don't care. If you got any one of you guys got the balls to take Michigan money line, I'll take that all day. For whatever.
I mean,
like any type of thing on the show.
That'd be a silly bet. That'd be a silly bet.
You think they're going to win the game, right?
We're giving you 7.5 points like that.
You don't need to give me anything. You both are picking them to win the game.
I know, but
you're picking Georgia.
You're picking Georgia money line is no.
See, the problem
you got all the cards.
The problem is Michigan's defense is really good, and I think that Georgia will have to really just not turn the football over, because if they don't turn the football over, I don't think they have a chance of losing this game. I think the way Michigan wins this game is a strip sack fumble, interception, pick six. There's no way they win the game. Georgia doesn't turn the ball over. It just doesn't happen. There's no way. Georgia's defense versus Michigan's offense is a bigger differential than Michigan's defense versus Georgia's offense. That's the argument I'll make all day. That front and listen, you're right. Sally said it perfectly. The Achilles heel to Georgia defense, even though their secondary only got burnt one game all year, that's fine. But The Achilles heel is their secondary. Cade McNamara is not the quarterback that's going to expose that. I'm sorry. Michigan wants to win the game by running the football. They're not going to do that. That's just my opinion. Everyone has one. If anybody can run the football versus Georgia, it's Michigan. There's nobody else in the country. Alabama got destroyed against the run. Nobody is running the football versus Georgia. But if anybody can, it's Michigan. So I think it's going to be a very, 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 very low-scoring game. So with a low-scoring game, a turnover, something of that nature, could easily sway that game. I don't think it's no chance that Michigan wins the game. It's no chance if Georgia doesn't turn the football over. That's my opinion on the game. If I'm going to give you a score, it's going to be 17-7, Georgia.
27-23 Michigan.
That doesn't sound like
You said
an
27-20.
entree. Yeah, I did say 27-20.
So it is an entree. To real football fans, low-scoring games can be an entree. Dude, give me a meal and let me sit down and watch that offensive line versus the Georgia front seven. That is when men are playing football. You're going to watch those 5 and 7, those 12 guys play in the NFL. Most of them, 7 or 8 of them. You know you're going to see 3 or 4 from Georgia defense, and 3 people on that Michigan offensive line are going to be playing football on Sunday, at minimum. Am I wrong?
No, I mean, I agree with you there.
That's going to be a great – that's the matchup to watch.
There was a battle in the trenches, though, in the SEC championship game. Though I think that's the only part that
the difference is Bryce Young can take the top off.
No, I know that. I'm not saying like matchup-wise. I'm just saying like as a football fan, like seeing the battle of the trenches and with the Alabama and Georgia, like Alabama controlled the line of scrimmage in that game, and that
against the
Alabama
pass,
definitely controlled the line of scrimmage
against the pass, not against the run. No way. Alabama ran the ball. They
controlled the line of scrimmage in general.
They protected the quarterback. They did not control the line of scrimmage. They couldn't run the ball at all. The reason Georgia stayed in that game and got into Bama territory 3 times and then pick and then turnover on downs twice is because Bama kept trying to run the ball to run the clock out and they couldn't do it. They needed Bryce Young to throw the ball. They could not run the ball.
When you have a one-dimensional offense and you know the run's coming, it's easy to plan against it. Yeah, that's true.
We're talking about one-dimensional. What do you mean one-dimensional offense? You're talking about Georgia?
It's easier for Georgia to stop the run when they know it's coming. That's what
exactly.
He's saying. When you're going into that type of offense where taking the clock down to 2 every snap and then snapping and it's running. Yeah, you're not going to run the ball in Georgia because they know it's coming. They know what you're doing. If you try to pop one, you might get lucky. But yeah, Nick Saban at that point is trying to run the clock down because
they didn't run the ball the whole game though.
He'll take his defense not giving up two quick drives to Georgia's offense. The biggest
Alabama
to Cottrell's
with
point,
115 rush yards.
Yeah, Cottrell's point is
that's good
when that front 7 couldn't get pressure on Bryce Young and they had to start blitzing. That's when they got in a lot of trouble. That's when Bryce Young started hitting big chunk plays because they had to blitz. They had to take another guy out of coverage to get pressure to him. Michigan again, Cade McNamara is not Bryce Young, but if that offensive line can hold up and protect him and give him 3 seconds to throw, he's not gonna throw a bunch of bad passes. I mean, Georgia, and then again, then you have 4 guys in that secondary that are they're not good cover guys. You got 5 or 6 guys that we're gonna rotate in and out of that game. They're all burners, crossing routes, stuff like that. If they get in wide open space, they're gone, man. They're gone.
And yes, they did run the ball for 115 yards, but if you take away Bryce's 3 scrambles for 40 yards, that their running backs ran the ball 23 times for a total of 76 yards. If that happens during this game, Michigan doesn't stand a chance. Because Cade McNamara is not going to run the ball like Bryce Young did. He's not going to scramble out of a passing play for 40 yards. It's just not going to happen.
JJ will.
That's just my personal opinion on the game. We all have it. Obviously, we'll all find out what happens, but I think Georgia's front 7 too. Snow also, Michigan outright. Hackney, obviously, Michigan fan. Michigan winning the Tutty this year, national championship.
Gene, I got a question for you.
Sure, fire away.
What if Michigan wins? What's your outlook on Georgia this season? Does it change
exactly
anything?
The way you said it? One-dimensional defensive team, no quarterback. So if Michigan wins that game, I'll fully admit.
I'm just saying, like, does it change your perspective, like your perspective of the team in general?
Of course it would. I'm still rooting for Georgia.
I know you're a fan. I know.
I'm not a fan of Georgia. You know why I'm a fan of Georgia? Because I picked them. That's it. Before the beginning of the season, I picked Georgia to win a national championship. Of course, I'm going to root for them to do that. That was my prediction. Nobody else had them win a national championship but me. Me and a couple people from Georgia. That's it. Everybody else had different teams. I had Georgia. I want to stick with that until my horse is out of the race. Is that fair?
Fair enough.
Fair? Okay. So let's get into NCAA Pick'em. By the way, real quick, just because he brings it up every week, doesn't deserve more than 3 seconds. But what about the Picketless Pitt versus the Kenneth Walker-less Michigan State? It doesn't matter. That's my opinion. The game stinks because both guys opted out. I think Kenny Pickett's a coward for not playing in that game.
I mean, before they opted out, I mean, I think that had a chance to be one of the better games in the whole month. Michigan State's, which we've seen, Ohio State put that on blast. Their secondary is not good. I don't know anything about Kenny Pickett's backup. I don't think anybody does. Well, Cottrell might, but
Cottrell knows where he went to high school.
Probably Cottrell knows his GPA from his 8th grade year. I don't know, man. I don't know how to pick that game. I think if Walker were still playing, I would love Michigan State in that game.
I think if Pickett was still playing, I'd love
correct.
Pitt.
Absolutely. If Pickett was playing, I wouldn't really care about Walker because Pickett would have thrown for 600 yards against that secondary. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a terrible game. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And if I'm a Pitt fan, I spit on the ground that Kenneth Walker, that Kenny Pickett walks on.
It just sucks because you had two guys that were absolute star power for that game, and they both opted out. And now you got a bunch of I don't cares.
Exactly. Let's get into Pick'em this week. Cottrell, you're remote. Why don't you go first?
All right, so since we're already on that game, I will take Michigan State -half in that game with the backup quarterback Nick Patty being in for Kenny Pickett. I just don't see them really moving the ball too well. Granted, they're going to throw the ball over the Michigan State defense just because the secondary isn't great, but I don't think that it's going to be enough to stop that Michigan State team. This is a Michigan State team who, granted, on the other side, Pitt, it's a big bowl game for them, first one in a long time. But I think Michigan State is just going to simply be too much for them. They still have their starting quarterback, Peyton Thorne's going to be in there. So I do like Michigan State -2.5 in that one. I also like Purdue +5.5 against Tennessee. I think that game is going to be very, very interesting. I haven't seen anything if David Bell's playing or not. I would assume that he's not playing, but even still, I do like Purdue in that game in general. And then the last game, I like Arizona State +6 against Wisconsin.
So I'll go next because I picked almost all 3 of the games that you picked.
So did I.
So I have Tennessee -6 over Purdue. I like the Vols. I think the Vols are headed in the right direction. Everything that they're doing, even the games they lost this year, a lot of close games. They played really good football all year. I think that team is headed in the right direction. And I mean, in reality, I think that they're the better football team than Purdue. I like Arizona State also +6 over Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin stinks. I don't know what planet they deserve to be 6-point favorites in this game. I think Arizona State wins the game outright. And then the game that we just talked about, obviously, I really love the Georgia-Michigan under. I like the under 46, which to me is way too many points.
I'm taking Michigan +7.5. I mean, we just talked about it for 10 minutes. I'm also taking Michigan State -2.5 versus Pittsburgh. And then I'm taking Wake Forest -14.5 against Rutgers. I think Rutgers on short prep. They've got blown out a couple times by offenses that are not as strong as Wake Forest. I think Wake Forest has a chance to score 60 in that game. So I think they cover. I will take Wake Forest and the 14.5.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
I think Tennessee beats.
You think they beat them badly? I think they beat them badly. I think it might be a 21-point game.
Oof,
I do.
know that.
I think the Vols are a way better football team. Unless they have a lot of opt-outs I don't know about, like Mississippi State's whole defensive line opting out like 2 hours before the game started.
That was awful.
Or them announcing it 2 hours before the game. I'm sure they notified the school more than 2 hours before the game started.
But the problem is they're not telling anybody else. So you're literally turning on
Right.
these telecasts to watch these games. I thank God I haven't had money on any of these games. But if you bet that game and then you turn it on and don't know, and then you're like, oh, 5 of Mississippi State's front 7 is out, you're screwed. You watch Texas Tech look like world beaters last night. They are not that good.
Real quick, Michael Robert Lafferty asked any update on new merch. Can I share that picture?
I just sent you the second one too. So yeah, I mean they're good to go.
Mike, I just sent you the picture. If you don't mind sharing it, I love the way this looks. We're gonna have our names in the back, but that's us in particular. And the arms on the sleeves, I like the blue even better than the black.
Put both up. I mean, I'll talk to Kurt, but I think we can probably order them whichever way you want. So I mean, you just have to specify.
But I love the way they look, and that's what we've been working on for a little bit. So that's the update on the merch. We'll be able to order it within a week or so. Taking orders.
I don't think we have to wait that long.
Well,
I